Greetings, programs. This is Wretch, and welcome back to Star Trek Resurgence. And I am really glad you guys enjoyed the first stream of the series. I think that we are going to have a more amazing time playing this game than we've already had. And we ended the last stream on a bit of a cliffhanger because Jara was right before the queen of the race that had taken over the dilithium mines and was wondering what the Federation's angle was. Were we truly there just to get peace, or was there something more? Now, we have basically the option of saying, we're just here for peace. We can admit that part of the reason is for the dilithium, or we can also say, that's not really for me to say. But I think some honesty here with the Queen is probably going to be good. She seems like a straight shooter. So I was thinking about it. I think we're just going to go ahead and tell her, yeah, we're here for peace and the dilithium. Nothing wrong with getting both. So hopefully this does not blow up in our face. Let's see.
Not your Federation rhetoric.
It's possible the Federation has an interest in both peace and securing a steady source of dilithium. One does not preclude or prevent the other. But that's just my personal opinion.
Given the Federation has done business with the Elidians for decades, I would agree. It's entirely possible, if not highly likely.
What they haven't said, but cannot deny, is a simple truth. The dilithium trade would not and will no longer exist without Elidian involvement. We created it for the benefit of everyone, especially the Kotari. We've given them warp technology. We've let them share in the profits. We've made their lives infinitely better than before dilithium was discovered. All of that goes away if the Federation turns a blind eye to their treachery.
That is enough of your lies!
Ooh, it's escalating.
The Kotari are quite capable of running the mines. We've done so for centuries. So tell me, who deserves control of the dilithium trade and the mines on Tau?
Oh no!
Should the Federation recognize? The Kotari or the Elidians?
That's not fair.
Only be one or the other, not both.
Hey, it's their planet!
If I have to choose only one, then it would have to be the Kotari.
Well said. How could the just and wise Federation make any other choice?
This is an outrage. The Federation has lost all credibility.
The mines are ours. Lydia will not be deterred. We will take back our mines by any means necessary.
Then you will see more blood spilled.
I am more than willing to address your concerns, Your Majesty. Yours as well, Representative. But I suggest we could have a more productive conversation with a smaller group. Perhaps only the most essential representatives.
Please and thank you. I like her side braids.
I suppose there is some sense to that.
If this queen dies, though, it's on. I don't think we're going to be part... Yeah, we just got
I hope we meet again.
the glare.
Commander Jara Rydek, Your Majesty.
It's been a pleasure, Commander Rydek.
What do you want me to do?
Spock and I will cover everything on the diplomatic front. You make nice with the locals and see if you can get some answers. We need to find out why the Kotari are so willing to risk war. What happened in those mines?
I like that the captain didn't give out on us or anything. Well, maybe Doom the Kotari are a matriarchy. That's something to take into consideration. You do not want to talk.
Commander, I'm glad you've chosen to side with the Kotari. I knew the Federation would see through the Elydians' baseless claims and protect the interests of my people.
Yeah.
To be clear, I'm not on either side of this conflict. Our only interest is peace.
I will keep that in mind.
I assume you were there the day the mines were seized from the Elydians.
Not seized. Reclaimed. And restored to their rightful owners. Yes, I was there. We had to be decisive. Before the Elydians could even realize their worst nightmares upon them.
Did you have help from someone else?
Kotari stands alone against the Elydian forces. We don't need help from anyone. They respect one thing above all else, and that is force. The greater the force, the more certain the outcome. Any talk of making peace is just that, and worth little without the strength to secure it. Which makes me wonder about your ship, the Resolute. Undoubtedly the Federation's finest warrior. Ready to contend with anything the Elydians might have in store. Or is that not true? Maybe I've misjudged it.
I wouldn't say state of the art, but the Resolute is plenty capable and can hold its own against just about anything.
Let's hope so. Because at the moment, it's the only thing preventing them from wiping us off the map.
See, that's the thing. They know.
Sidron. A pleasure meeting you, Commander. I'm sure we'll cross paths again.
Like, what is going on? They know that the Elydians could wipe them out, so why did they do it in the first place? There has to be another reason. I will appreciate water now.
Soothing.
I do like our bone orc friends. Soon we will talk to the shaved cat friends. We will make sure that we have friends.
Commander Rydek, I'm encouraged to see the Federation supporting my people, and afraid of what might happen without your help.
If anyone deserves thanks, it's Ambassador Spock. No one is more invested in negotiating a peaceful settlement to this conflict than he is.
I'm so glad. We need his help before the situation escalates further than it already has. It's been very trying. I saw you speaking with Sidron, our national hero. I'm curious, what did he say?
He seems to be of the opinion that negotiating for peace is a waste of time.
Because force is the only blunt instrument he understands. He's a miner, not a diplomat.
Rock and stone.
For the first time in our history, the Kotari have the upper hand. We see ourselves as strong instead of downtrodden. New voices have risen up. Old voices shouted down. Galvin and Sidron have become national heroes. Now they have the Queen's ear. Better or worse, depending on your perspective.
I assume they've taken your place.
I was one of the Queen's most trusted advisors. And I hope to prove myself worthy of being so again. Which is why you're here. My fear has been that the Elydians will launch an attack and crush us. You've seen their starship, no doubt. They could have retaken the mines whenever they wanted to. But it never happened. And as strange as this may sound, I'd almost say they're afraid. I just don't know what they're afraid of.
Right.
It's still the same bluster and bravado you would expect from them. But it has no teeth. Like they're afraid of what might happen.
Do you think it has something to do with the ion storm? Right now, it's stronger than ever, isn't it?
It's entirely possible. I'm not a scientist, but I do know the storm has knocked out all kinds of systems. So maybe the Illydians weren't willing to risk their ships, given all the interference.
It's kind of like the Romulans and the Remans.
Since the day of the revolt, Galvin has seized control of the mines and restricted all access. No one's allowed without his personal authorization. And they've taken over a section of the palace with just as much secrecy and security.
That's not good.
I'm told it could be something they brought back from the mines. I've made inquiries, but everyone pretends it doesn't exist. I strongly suspect they're hiding something.
Are you sure of this?
It's been the talk of the palace since the day of the revolt.
How can we know?
They dug too greedily and too deep.
I'd better see what's happening.
Do you think you can find out what they're hiding? I need to see proof of something before I can make my case to the Federation.
I can try, but even if I found it, I might not know what to make of it.
Take this. You can use it to capture whatever you find, and then send it to me.
Thank you. I will let you know what I find. And I look forward to our meeting again.
Sorry, I couldn't help but notice you were speaking with the Kotari this whole time. I figured in the interest of fairness, I should offer another perspective.
Of course.
I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know, but these negotiations rely on the Federation's neutrality, as does any hope you might have for a supply of dilithium in the future. So, why you would choose to side with the Kotari escapes me. Without Illydian involvement, there is no dilithium trade. Clearly, you weren't aware.
We are and will remain completely neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution to this conflict.
As is ours. Of course, the question is, at what price? Major Sarlet Arminta, Special Attaché, Illydian Armed Forces. Pleasure to meet you, Commander.
God, love their eyes.
I have my issues with the Kotari, but I have to give them some credit. They know how to seize an opportunity. Inciting an uprising the same day as a massive, once-in-a-lifetime ion storm.
Our assumption was that this storm was just an anomaly.
Yes, a very convenient anomaly. At least that was what we were told. Of course, I wasn't there. But who am I to say otherwise?
You sound skeptical.
Well, the official story is that it was the storm that enabled the revolt. How else do a bunch of unarmed, unorganized miners seize control of an entire moon, much less thousands of mine? But I've talked to people who were there. They tell a different story. They say they're lucky to have escaped with their lives, that it was more than just the storm, that somehow the miners were able to harness the energy from the storm. I know it sounds crazy. I'm not even sure I believe it myself. But that's what they said.
You just answered your own question. How do a group of miners do something that in theory can't be done? That's how. Harnessing the storm.
But even if it's true, how does that even happen?
You tell me.
See, we're getting along.
Excuse me, Commander Ryder.
We're trying to mend the fences. I know this isn't the way, I just wanted to double check. So they must have found something in the mines to give them a huge offensive boost.
They seem proud of their culture. Pride can lead to rash action.
It's like dealing with Klingons. But these folks have been oppressed. Even if they were oppressed and given roses, they were still oppressed.
Well, that was a disaster.
What happened?
The Kotari refused to concede anything, so the Elydians stormed out.
The Kotari did not invite us here as peacekeepers. I hope your efforts were more fruitful than ours.
Very much so. Meanwhile,
gravitational harmonics failing to resolve. Warp bubble stability degrading. Increase output to maximum.
Increasing warp output to maximum.
It's happening again.
It is evident that presently, the Resolute cannot achieve warp propulsion.
Since our diagnostics rule out any problems with our warp systems or anything about the ship, the problem appears to be the fabric of space itself.
Space itself? You're saying something about this region of space prevents warp travel?
Prevents it, or can't sustain it.
However improbable, that appears to be the case.
We need to know more.
Otherwise, it'll be an extended stay in the Kotari system.
The storm didn't stop us from leaving space dock and traveling here. But could it still be causing this interference with warp travel?
We must follow sound investigatory principles. Do not let an assumed conclusion drive your analysis.
Sometimes we need a little inspired thinking, Mr. Chovak. Captain Solano is on his way back from the negotiations, and I want to have some answers for him when he gets here.
Indeed. Given the facts at hand, we may be able to deploy subspace probes around the ship to construct a clearer picture of the phenomenon.
Around the ship. I'll prep a shuttle.
Diaz is like, I'm on the case. The scientific method, your friend in the cosmos. That music, though.
I'm setting up a waypoint at a distance roughly corresponding to the edge of our warp field. When we get there, I'll deploy the first probe.
Fly shuttle to your objective to complete the mission. R2, L2, R, and strafe. Oh, God. Okay. That's kind of cool, though. I ain't gonna lie.
Commander Westbrook, the Resolute systems are calibrated to receive the probe's readings. We are standing by to reproduce the warp field collapse after the first probe is deployed.
Thank you, Mr. Chovak. We'll be in position shortly.
And, Mr. Diaz, do take care in piloting the shuttlecraft.
Absolutely.
It's not the time to indulge in the human penchant for joyriding.
Cool, calm, and collected.
Probably isn't such a fun guy to work for, huh?
Oh, God.
Nah, Lieutenant Commander Chovak's not so bad. You know, once you get used to him. And, I've learned a lot working under him.
I have a feeling I'm going to have to work harder to be a political animal like you. This new first officer coming aboard.
I figure once you get used to a Vulcan, that it's fine. Probably frustrating, but manageable. Kirk did it. At least half. Yeah.
This is far enough. This is far enough. Transporting the...
First probe, yes. Sorry, game.
Westbrook here. The first probe is deployed.
Understood. We are reading it. We are about to replay the simulation.
Problem?
I just can't get a handle on her. Commander Rydek. On the one hand, she went with my idea to use a deflector pulse against the storm surge. On the other, she wouldn't listen to me when I was trying to get you through the hull walk alive. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the new XO. I'm sure she's a fine officer, even if we don't see eye to eye. But she didn't go through what the rest of us did. You know that. And it's hard to figure out why she'd be the one Solano chose instead of, well, one of us.
I've heard some good things. You should at least give her a chance.
I'll take that under advisement.
Mr. Sunshine.
Warp field collapse in 3, 2, 1, mark.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right, that is definitely a problem with the fabric of space. We need to get another probe out there. With 2 points of data, the Resolute and the probe, we've managed to get an interference pattern. I'm setting a waypoint to a particularly strong area of interference. We'll deploy the second probe there.
All right.
Listen, I'm gonna give you a piece of advice I wish someone had given me. Make sure you're never just one thing. And don't get so focused on what's in front of your face that you lose sight of the big picture. Before Rydek showed up, the captain pulled me into his ready room and told me he didn't think I had the people skills to be first officer. What a load of crap. If he'd said that about Chovak, sure.
Well, if you're asking, I think you're a people person. After all, here we are. Me, an enlisted officer. You, one of the senior staff. Talking like old buddies.
I should send Solano to talk to you.
Bring him on.
I'm sure you can handle him. You've got potential. You're a capable engineer. You're good in the field. Keep up the good work, and who knows? A solid jack of all departments like you could be Commander-in-Chief of Starfleet one day. Hell, Admiral Jellicoe started as a shuttle pilot. And there are places to go in the enlisted ranks, too. Of course, if you get an officer's commission, they'll put you on another ship.
You know, I'd be the best leader Starfleet ever had. Lower decks always have to fix all the problems command causes. Maybe I'd just save everybody some steps.
Well, don't forget about us little people when you're running things.
Of course not. You gotta remember where you came from.
Hey, we got good vibes. Oh, oh, oh. Hold down. There we go.
Here. This is close enough. Stop the engines. Deploying the probe.
Probe numero dos.
Westbrook to Commander Chovak. We're ready for another sampling of data.
Very good. Running the simulation again. Warp field collapse in 3, 2, 1, mark.
There it is again.
I saw it. It seems to be directional.
Well, what about the scans? Anything?
So it's like coming from a point and then cascading.
In relation to our local space. We've got the Resolute, Kotari Prime, and the probes.
All this interference is overloading the sensor buffers. We're gonna have to triangulate the sensors manually.
Okay.
We got something.
These markers indicate peaks in the gravimetric interference patterns.
Let's see if I can find some more.
It's like trying to find the message in like a 3D picture that you'd get on a box of cereal. Back in the day.
Hold up. This is coming from the moon.
A beam that blocks warp travel.
Aimed right at us.
Someone is doing this intentionally. I don't know how they're doing it. This is like nothing I've ever seen.
Why would they be doing this? We came here to help these people. And now we're getting hit by some warp-killing weapon?
It's like an interdiction beam.
Now, look here. It's the current readings of the ion storm.
These concentrations, they line up with the interference pattern. The storm and this beam, they're coming from the same place.
Carter, whatever petty local conflict brought us here, it's just a small part of something much bigger.
Like interdictorships back in Star Wars to keep people from going into hyperspace.
Explanation for how they're doing this. One thing is clear. This is no fluke.
Thank you, Mr. Westbrook. I want a full briefing when I'm back on board. Solano out. A targeted weapon that inhibits warp travel. Coming from the moon Tau.
That would explain the difficulties my shuttle encountered. More importantly, the tenor of the Kotari during the negotiations.
And here I thought the Elydians would be the problem. Coming to peace talks in a warship. This wasn't supposed to be so complicated.
I don't know why the Kotari wanted us here, but it wasn't to negotiate.
Clearly, peace is not their intention.
Then what is? Why go through this charade?
Tylus, the Kotari representative, said she thought they found something in the mines. Galvin and Sidron brought it back to the palace, but they're keeping it under tight security. She's going to investigate it. I gave her my tricorder. I expect she'll contact us soon.
You found an ally.
Why would Tylus help us? Go behind her people's back? It's a fair question, considering.
She's worried that her people are being dragged into something that isn't going to end well for them. She's trying to save them.
That may be true.
She's certainly more likely to help than the other Kotari we've met.
That raises another question. Specifically, what do the other Kotari have to gain in bringing us here, only to make this hostile maneuver against us? There must be some motivation.
Unless they changed their minds between when they asked and when we got here.
That's the thing. It doesn't make sense to bring us here. Tylus said that Galvin and Sidron have restricted access to the mines.
Hey, Dama.
Even to the Kotari. So they don't want anybody to learn what they've found.
Then calling in the Federation is a funny way of going about it. I don't think the Elydians know what's really down on that moon either.
Major Armintas said the revolt defied explanation. That the Kotari miners somehow harnessed the energy of the storm.
Harness the energy of the storm?
Doing that is beyond even our capability.
So is a weapon that disrupts warp travel.
There have been civilizations and entities, both past and present, far more technologically advanced than the Federation.
The Elydians and Kotari don't fall into that category.
But that is all the more reason to investigate further.
So we've got...
Commander Rydek, sorry to interrupt. We've received an urgent call from Kotari. Queen's advisor, Tylus, has asked to speak with you.
Put her through.
Trying to think about some of the ancient races. Hi.
Galvin and Sidron are still with the Queen. I've enlisted help to gain access to the room they have under guard. I don't have much time.
I'm not supposed to leave my post.
It's only for a moment. I so appreciate your help.
I found something. I'm sending you a scan.
Whoa.
Got it. Tylus, if we needed to gain access to the mines on Tau, is that something you could help us with?
I suppose it wouldn't be easy, but I have to go.
Tylus.
Hopefully she's okay.
Can we reconnect?
Sorry, Captain. We've lost all contact.
We can only hope she escaped without harm.
It's hard to tell.
Oh.
I'm the one who got her into this. If something happens to her, it's my fault.
She's one of the Queen's closest advisors. I'm sure she'll be fine. Assuming the Queen isn't part of this. Let's see the scan of whatever the hell that was.
Tyler suspects this came from the mines on Tau.
Almost looks Tholian.
It appears to be of ancient origin, but the markings are unfamiliar.
We can run a full analysis when we get back to the Resolute. But if this came from the mines, then it might be the key to how they got the upper hand against the Lydians.
Then we have to go into the mines.
The Federation would not allow that. We were, after all, sent here to be a neutral party in a peace negotiation. However, we could demonstrate that the Kotari have acted in bad faith, which would enable us to investigate the mines on Tau with full justification. But of course, we would need conclusive proof before taking action. Otherwise, it could put us in a difficult position.
Whatever this artifact is may be proof enough. At least to satisfy the Federation.
Especially if we can show the Kotari are controlling the warp disruption. And targeting the Resolute.
We may have a better understanding once we analyze the device. But a mission to the mines, covert or otherwise, is not out of the question. And I will handle the Federation.
Yeah, you will. So when I think about ancient races in Star Trek, two pop into mind. One is the Deccan Empire.
Telling Carter, I want all the data I can get on this warp problem. And the negotiating team's shuttle has been recording data all the way back from Kotari.
Containment protocol.
Even better than our probes. So pull the sensor and engine ISOs from the Melville when it sets down.
Will do.
There was the Deccan Empire from the episode with the Ferengi.
Down in engineering to run another analysis after the briefing.
I'll wait until I actually can move around. Don't want to disrupt the dialogue too much.
I didn't like this warp problem when we thought it was some astronomical anomaly. And I like it a hell of a lot less now that we know someone is doing it to us. How does it work? What do we even do about it?
What do you say we pull these chips and find out?
Took some damage on the way. That ionic interference scored the hull plating. Might be some micro welds. Let's try pulling together.
We didn't dent it, at least.
3, 2, 1. It won't budge. Gotta be the storm damage. We need to... Welcome back. Any excitement down on the surface?
Excitement? No. Nothing like that.
Hey, can you hand me the EJ7 interlock? From the toolbox.
I don't know what that is.
Not much use for one on a security detail, huh? Carter?
Yeah, I'll get it.
There's some tension? Just a little bit? Nah, be a pro. Just smile.
Okay, I'll apply pressure while you decouple the panel.
Here, I'll help.
By our powers combined.
We've got this.
Open up and say ah.
Thanks for the hand. We have to get these isolinear chips down to engineering.
No problem. You really know everything about these ships, don't you? The tools, the systems. Like a walking Starfleet technical manual.
What can I say? I'm good at what I do.
I can see that.
Oh, whoops.
Come on, start pulling chips.
I thought she'd like confidence. I was mistaken. So, I remember in the first episode where you see the Ferengi, they run afoul of an ancient group called the Deccan Empire that could, like, move planets and such. And then there was also the Iconians that had, like, a really cool, like, portal system. And that was in a later season, I think. Oops. Whoa.
What's this?
Some kind of crystal formation?
Whoa. This substance is a quantized spin crystallization of hydrogen, carbon, and lithium. It's emitting tetrametric pulses at an interval of 3.8422 seconds.
Quantized crystallization isn't natural. I mean, it's only theoretical as a means to engineer matter on a subatomic level. What's it doing in there?
Did it manifest from the storm, maybe? Or are we going to touch it? Do we need to get some gloves first?
Wait.
Smart.
Regulation 364, subsection 9.
What?
Regulation 364, subsection 9 orders that in the case of an unknown foreign substance infiltrating a sealed system, it will be placed in secure confinement before further examination. Retrieve a containment module.
Don't you think we're more equipped to deal with whatever this is?
No. Before anything else, this is a security issue. You don't even know what this is.
Which is why we need to study it.
Once it's contained.
Well, if it's not natural, then someone might have put it there. It could be a tracking device. Some kind of sabotage. Or even a bomb.
Which is why we need to get it to the containment lab.
Come on.
I can't make an exception. Not even for you.
I'm still going to report these crystals to Commander Westbrook when we send the shuttle data.
And I will inform my superiors. I'm taking this just as seriously as you are.
There you go. Life's about compromise, ladies.
I never heard talk about the warp disruption on the shuttle. Now these crystals? Maybe this situation is more than we can handle with just a science vessel. We could trigger a distress call, get Starfleet to send more ships. Or I could send a message to my old CO on the Adirondack. Get some combat-tested vessels.
Yeah.
Shouldn't do this alone.
Put them in the same spot.
We're at the edge of the quadrant. Help isn't just gonna pop over like we're in Sector 001.
Wouldn't hurt to try.
You talk like you've never had your backs up against a wall before. This is Starfleet. We solve our own problems.
Awkward triangle.
Okay, stand back.
I'm surprised it can be
Take
transported.
this to the containment lab. We'll get it set up for you. I'll let you know when it's safely confined.
Oh, we'll be there.
Last thing you want is to study this down in main engineering and have it explode next to the warp core. Almost forgot.
Can't have that.
Well then.
For a second, I thought she'd gone cold on you. Like she might have changed her mind. But I guess this whole situation has her spooked. Maybe she knows more than us? Or it's because this is all happening so fast? But she usually doesn't scare easy.
Now, you can't tell me you're not a little spooked, too. We all should be.
Believe me, I'm taking it seriously. But Miranda talking about sending a distress call on her own? That's going too far. She was probably just thinking out loud. I'm sure she'll come to her senses.
Hey, Tay.
Mission has enough complications stacking up.
Now, we'll get through it. You, me, and Miranda, too.
Trying to think about any other ancient civilizations,
Commander
symbols and
Rydick
legends.
was able to work behind the scenes during the negotiations and made contact with a representative from the Kotari delegation named Tilas. She mentioned an unusual artifact of unknown origin being held under tight security within the Kotari palace, which she believes came from the mines on Tau. Now, this artifact might have a connection to the revolt, to the storm, and to the warp disruption we now know has been targeted at the Resolute. Commander Rydick, if you want to take it from here.
Of course. Tilas managed to infiltrate the heavily guarded location within the palace and sent us these scans using my tricorder. It appears to be some sort of control panel, possibly connected to the warp disruption weapon originating on Tau. Of particular interest is this symbol, which we couldn't identify the origin of.
The Federation database has records from a vast number of civilizations. If anyone from Starfleet has come across this before, the system should recognize it.
Cross-referencing with Federation records.
Displaying symbols from Federation database with a 90% probability of match or higher. Select a symbol to further analyze.
Klingons. Maybe. Oh no, that's it right there.
.2% match.
Got it.
Oh, it is the Takan!
So, what are we looking at?
The design and composition indicate this is a glyph associated with the ancient Takan Empire.
Called it early.
Civilization collapsed over 600,000 years ago, but once spanned millions of systems with a population numbering in the trillions.
Fascinating. The Takan were once the most advanced, most powerful civilization in the galaxy.
Does that mean we get to run into a...
Possible the Kotari found Takan technology.
I wonder if they even know what they have.
Our knowledge of the Takan is limited. I have only encountered passing references to them.
Actually, I've heard of the Takan.
You have?
Quite impressive, Commander.
Computer, summarize the Enterprise D's discovery of a Takan outpost.
On stardate 41386.4, the USS Enterprise D, under the command of Captain Jean-Luc Picard, discovered a Takan outpost in the Delphi Ardus. According to the mission summary, an unbreakable energy-draining field was deployed against the Enterprise and a Ferengi ship. The Enterprise was only able to escape after negotiating their release with an entity known as Portal 6-3, Guardian of the Takan.
With all the lightning.
Unbreakable energy draining field. It starts to make sense.
What else is there?
There's a lot here. Let's take it piece by piece.
Select the aspect you wish to learn more about.
Portal. Okay, we'll do Portal last. That was like one of my favorite characters from the Next Generation, like one-shot characters.
The technology to capture and hold the Federation flagship would have to be unbelievably powerful. Computer, what else can you tell us about the energy-draining field the Takan used?
The Enterprise D was unable to break free on its own. The precise nature of the technology was never fully understood. Only that the crystalline technology used was beyond the comprehension of then-current Starfleet science.
The engineering team found a quantized spin crystal formation in the shuttle you took to Kotari. They registered tetrametric radiation coming from it.
We have Takan technology on board right now?
We might. I'll run a full analysis in the containment lab.
The question is, how did it get there?
What sort of planet is Delphi Ardu 4?
Delphi Ardu 4 is an M-class planet, a barren rocky world with little to no vegetation and frequent ion storms. The giant crystals that grow there absorb energy, but it is not understood how they do so. The entire Delphi-Ardu system, consisting of 11 planets, was considered completely uninhabited until the encounter with Portal 6-3.
Frequent ion storms. That can't just be a coincidence.
So the episode, I believe, was called The Last Outpost or The Final Outpost. And when the Ferengi would use their laser whips and the Federation would use the phasers, the shots would just glance and get sucked into the crystals.
There appears to be some sort of restriction order from Starfleet. Computer, explain this restriction.
A Starfleet directive similar to General Order 7 forbids entering the Delphi-Ardu system or attempting to make contact with Portal 6-3.
Starfleet doesn't throw up a no trespassing sign for just anybody.
I suppose it makes sense considering what happened to the Enterprise D.
And I think the only other planet that I'm aware of that has General Order 7 is Telos. I think it was the planet from... Hey, Moki, thank you very much for that sub with Prime. It was the planet from the pilot for the original Star Trek, the original series, and it's where Captain Pike ended up. Was it Telos? Telosians?
Someone from the Takan Empire is actually still around.
Or at least was, 16 years ago.
Computer, what other information do you have on Portal 6-3, Guardian of the Takan Empire?
The entity known as Portal 6-3 is of an unknown nature. A biped humanoid, he was unaware that the Takan Empire no longer existed at the time of the encounter. He was able to control the crystal-based technology of the Takan outpost through apparent telepathic means. It was by his choice that the Enterprise was released from the energy draining field after Commander William T. Riker of the Away Team argued on behalf of both Starfleet and the Ferengi.
Telepathic control of their technology.
As I have said, they were the most advanced civilization in the galaxy.
The Elydians should have crushed the revolt.
Talos.
But if the Kotari have Takan technology and can control it, see why they're willing to negotiate peace. For all we know, this could be just the beginning. And we're up against something greater than we can imagine.
For now, it's probably best we don't let on how much we know.
Play our cards close to the vest. Smart. I agree. Then when the time is right, we can confront them.
Diplomatically, of course.
Right.
We've been able to triangulate the source of the ionic interference and warp disruption to a specific mine on Tau. Engineering used the latest data from your shuttle to pinpoint its origin. There.
So we know where to look.
We need to know what's down there. What the Kotari are hiding, to better understand what we're up against. And to neutralize it if we can.
Talos 4.
Captain, embarking on a mission to the Kotari moon would not be viewed favorably by either side. However, given the circumstances, we are entirely within our rights to defend ourselves.
I just want to make sure this doesn't blow up in our faces. Which is why I'm thinking of sending Commander Rydek on a covert mission to Tau. Assuming you're up to the task. It would require absolute secrecy. And obviously, it's not without risk.
I'll get the away team in and out. They're in safe hands with me.
Under normal circumstances, that would be the case. But given the sensitive nature of this incursion, I'm afraid you'll have to go it alone. I'm hoping Tylus can accompany you. The priority is to avoid detection. It's a calculated risk. The last thing we need is to get caught and then blamed for violating our neutrality, aggravating an already tense situation. We can't afford any mistakes, which is why I've chosen you.
It's a risk we have to take. We need to know what we're up against.
Agreed. And of course, you'll have the full support of the Resolute throughout.
We must take every precaution.
Get in touch with Tylus and make the necessary arrangements as discreetly as possible.
Bridge to Captain Solano. The Elydians have moved additional ships to the edge of the Kotari system. Current heading is straight for the homeworld.
Understood.
It would seem we no longer have the luxury of waiting. In that case, may I suggest you and I return to Kotari Prime? Doing so will provide Commander Rydek as much time as possible to complete her mission.
Agreed. We'll hail the Queen's delegation from my ready room. We all know what we need to do. Dismissed.
Oh, Mochi, I just saw that. Your baby's first exposure to Star Trek? Well, I'm honored. Hopefully we'll give the little one a good impression. That was slightly J.J. Abrams Star Trek sounding. Lost and found.
Petty Officers Diaz and Ed Solar, where is the crystal formation that you found in the shuttle? I have tasked Ensign Calloway with performing a full analysis of the tetrametric pulses.
Security brought it to the containment lab.
I was just there. They don't know anything about it. Security never checked it in.
Beg pardon?
Miranda never got there?
She's the one that had the crystal formation?
Yeah. Her and the rest of the security detail from the negotiations.
Diaz, Tamaris.
That's never a good sign.
Commander Westbrook to Petty Officer Miranda Maris. Respond.
Something's not right.
She's still on the ship. She has to be.
Computer, locate Petty Officer Miranda Maris.
Petty Officer Miranda Maris is in the isolinear storage array on Deck 5.
I'll go find her.
Good.
I am sure Mr. Diaz can attend to this on his own.
I'd prefer her to tag along, because we don't know... Okay. Very Borgy. Mixed with a dash of IT. I don't know, I've watched Serenity. Finding Miranda doesn't necessarily lead to good things. That's true. What is more IT than the Borg?
Someone improperly pulled these isolinear chips.
Please don't let Miranda be like a spy.
Who did this?
Can we grab a phaser? Normally there's a place to grab a phaser. Ah, it's true. Doom, she could be leaving breadcrumbs if something happened to her. She would have already answered. Are you gonna try and jump scare me, game? There's another thing about it is that possession wasn't a part of the Dekong Empire's like makeup. Of course, we don't know a whole lot about their technology. Check your corners.
What the?
Oh, it's just you. I'm busy right now.
Uh-huh.
Why don't you come back later?
I called you on the comm badge. Twice. Commander Westbrook, too. Why didn't you answer?
Oh, I guess I was just caught up in my work.
Oh god, I didn't even think Changeling.
But I'm through here, so I can't stay and chat. I have other things to do. Sorry you came all this way for nothing.
What exactly were you doing in here? I saw you accessing files, copying them onto that.
This is secure data. It's really not my place to talk about it. Look, I appreciate that you came to check on me, but I'm fine. You worry too much. We're on a starship. Nothing's gonna happen to me here.
Miranda, you can be honest with me. Are you in some kind of trouble? Commander Westbrook said the crystals you took never made it to the containment lab.
Will you drop it? I don't like being interrogated, Carter.
Hey, wait up!
I'm getting some very mixed signals from you right now.
Likewise.
I'm sorry. I'm under a lot of stress right now. Just tell Chovak or whoever I don't know where the crystals are, and let me go about my business. I know we have some things to figure out. I don't have time to stand around and debate with you. Not right now.
I want to help you, but you're not making it easy.
Then I'll try to make it simple. You don't have to say anything at all.
Miranda, hold on.
No. Get out of my way.
Yeah. Here we go.
So I see you found each other.
You were taking so long, the commander sent us to see what the problem was. Diaz, you were sent here with specific orders, and fighting your crewmate wasn't one of them. What the hell is going on here?
Let's just let them explain.
I'd like to hear that, because I know what it looks like.
We need to...
There's something seriously wrong with her. She's not herself, I'm telling you.
What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything.
Well, for one, she was copying data onto this.
This drive is unauthorized.
There are ISOs all over the floor.
And that's why I was in here, investigating this situation. And when Carter came looking for me, we got our wires crossed. It wasn't anything more than that.
Even if that was true, it still doesn't answer what happened to the crystal formation that she took. And she isn't helping.
I can't tell you what I don't know. I brought them where they belonged, and that's where I left them.
I don't know what's going on here, but I think we need to call it into security. She can explain herself in the brig.
Hold on a minute. We don't need to put this on anyone's permanent record. Carter said you're not yourself. If something's wrong with you, we should head to sickbay and the doc will fix you right up.
Yeah, I haven't felt right since I came back from Kotari. I think I should see the doctor.
You two know her? If you really think she's not well, we can take her to sickbay first. But what I know is this is a security breach, and we should treat it as such.
Please, just let me go see the doctor.
She did have a bumpy ride back on the shuttle. Come on, Carter. We should get her taken.
Oh. I don't know. She went back to being wholesome very, very quickly. What do y'all think? Mochi says sickbay. Tay says very sus. security, sickbay is delaying. Well, it's one of those kind of situations where, like, she obviously knew what she was doing with the ISO chips. What would Diaz do, though? Not necessarily what Wretch would do. What would Diaz do? I'm going to say sickbay. Well, she wants to go to sickbay, though. Yeah, Diaz would send her to sickbay first.
You better be sure about this.
Let's take her to sickbay. It's better than the brig, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Fine. Get checked out by medical. You two go with her. I'll put this back together.
She can escape sickbay. Yeah, that's true. Well, we'll see.